Hello everyone, welcome to From the Heart. I'm Joshua.
And I'm Mary.
And we're excited to bring to you all that's new and good when it comes to the arts in Central Florida.
Today we're learning about United Arts of Central Florida. President and CEO Flora Maria Garcia is here to tell her vision for the future of the art and our artists in Central Florida. Welcome, Flora Maria.
Thank
you. We're glad to have you here. What does the future look like for our artists here?
I think the future looks great. We're raising more money than we ever have at United Arts of Central Florida. We exceeded the $6.1 million budget figure, which we hadn't reached since 2008. So I think the economy is getting better. What I hope to do in the future is really continue to raise more dollars to provide a stable base for our institutions. We provide organizations operating support, which is the hardest type of money to raise because it's not sexy. It's not project oriented. Right. It's money to pay your salaries, money to pay the light bills, and what I see of our cultural institutions is a real fragile infrastructure. So we need to help them build their endowments, build their cash reserves, really stabilize the funding base so that they can do the great work that they do. I also want to see diversifying of the programming so that the programming is more accessible to our diverse communities. So I'm hoping that the programming becomes more multicultural in the future. We're going to work with the groups on that. I want to see a more focus on education, more access to more children in a larger number of counties to the arts, and that's definitely where corporate funding is going. They're very interested in support of education and the growth of educational opportunities for kids.
I know to look to the future, we also should celebrate the present. And I know that in your first couple of years here, we've seen some really substantial growth in giving. Tell us a little bit, how is that happening? What's going on behind the scenes that's allowing this growth?
We have really focused on raising money, and we've done a good job at it. I've got great people working for me, but we've also fine-tune the art of asking for dollars and make sure that we're asking businesses and foundations and government for the kinds of things they want to give money to. So we're really targeting the ask to the kinds of things that are relevant to those donors. I'm excited because what I'm seeing is a growth in giving. The gifts are getting bigger. And people respect the work that United Arts is doing. They put their trust in us to give them money away in a fair and equitable fashion for the kinds of things they want to see the money going towards, which is access to the arts for all.
That's a win-win for everybody.
It is a win-win for everybody.
How does Orlando stack up with other cities with many great artists? We have a lot of talented people because of our theme parks, and we're building, but our artists, a lot of them have to subsidize their income in other ways. How do we stack up with the other cities, and how can we get better?
It's always hard to be an individual artist. Years ago, the National Endowment for the Arts did a survey of artists, and only about 5% of artists working as artists can make a living making art. So it's always a tough road to go. We have a huge creative community here. We have, just among the 3 theme parks, we have more than 9,500 creatives working in Central Florida, so a really wonderful percolating hub of creativity and people supporting each other. So it's a matter of focusing on being professional, getting your work out, knowing how to market yourself, and the quality of your work has to be really high because it's a very competitive field.
There's a saying, we're all in this together.
Agreed.
And I know that's your message, and you are very big on partnerships and collaborations. Yes. Why is that important for us as a city that's still growing our arts and culture? Why do you feel like that's so important?
Because we can't work in a vacuum, and we have synergies that help each other do better across the board. Look at the collaboration that you did with the Pine Hills Arts Center, and you created the gospel choir. You were off doing your thing, doing your beautiful choir group, and Pine Hills was desperate for programming, and they had talent. And together, you working with the Pine Hills created an amazing synergistic choir, blending communities together to make beautiful music together. Now, to me, that's a great use of an opportunity and people who had the talent that were just looking for a way to get involved.
It's beautiful. What are some other partnerships and collaborations that are happening in our arts community that you think are crucial to our sustainability as a community?
We just partnered with Evans High School at UCF and Valencia College, funded by a wonderful planning grant from JP Morgan Chase. We are working with Evans High School to design creative tracks for kids to learn back-of-house skills like lighting design, costume design, digital media that will feed them into the incredible creative industry that we have here. So low-income kids will see a light at the end of the tunnel. We're preparing them for real-life creative jobs right in our community. And Evans is headed to becoming an arts and entertainment magnet school, which I am thrilled about.
So excited that you say that. I just got an email yesterday from the choir director at Evans High School saying, my kids are hungry and thirsty for the arts. Can they come see your shows for free? And of course, we would say absolutely you can, but that's making the arts affordable and accessible for kids. Why is that important that we do that?
It's hugely important because truly the arts can change lives. When kids get inspired by the arts, one, we've seen studies that show kids involved in the arts and experiencing the arts do well across the board academically and have higher SAT scores. There's a discipline involved, there's critical thinking skills that grow with engagement in the arts. So the arts are not just inspirational and powerful from an individual experience, but they're good across the board at keeping kids in school and improving their academics.
Not too long ago, we adjudicated a talent show in Pine Hills, and these 3 young men, 17, were dancers, hip-hop dancers, and they put together this great act. But I remember you said to them, Joshua, you said, there's so many other things you could be doing with your time right now, and things not as creative as this, that this is keeping you in a really good place. And it's so true. If it weren't for that discipline, you could tell that they practiced and had it going on. But it gave them confidence.
Absolutely.
It gave them structure. It gave them discipline, and you gave them hope.
Right.
And the arts, confidence is a big deal.
Yeah. What are some other things happening here in Central Florida with kids and teens that you know of that you can bring to our listeners that we can just celebrate in the arts?
There are just so many programs happening for kids. One of the things that we're going to do as part of OrlandoAtPlay.com, and it will be kicked off in December, is we're having an arts education website that will be aimed at teachers and homeschoolers that will highlight programs that teachers can bring into the schools that focus on arts and education, or programs that they can take the kids to experience. The site will have curriculum guides. It'll have little videos about what they're going to experience in the schools. So it's a one-stop shop for teachers to know about what's available for their students. So I'm excited about that.
That website would be?
Well, we don't have a name for it yet, but it will be on OrlandoAtPlay.com. There will be a whole education component to it.
I think arts advocacy is huge and part of our future. For our listeners out there, how can someone become an arts advocate? What can they do besides going and supporting and seeing a show? What else can people do to be an arts advocate?
They can write letters to the editor. They can communicate with their elected officials about something they feel passionate about. They can join our arts advocacy task force. They can email me if they want to get involved in advocacy, and if they're passionate about the arts and want to push the needle forward, they can certainly become more involved with United Arts.
You know what I like doing? I'll buy 2 extra tickets to something I'm going to and give them to somebody. That's my little way of doing that. I do that at Pashakasha every time.
That's a great idea. Flora, you have been an absolute joy to talk to, and we could go on again for hours just talking about the future that is bright for the arts, but thank you for your influence and all that you are doing in this community.
Yes,
I'm happy to be with you.
Brilliant leadership.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining Joshua and I. Our conversation with Flora Maria Garcia was truly thought-provoking. We hope you run into Flora Maria at an art event around town.
And if you do, make sure to tell her that Joshua and Mary say hello
from the heart.